Hello and welcome to the Star Wars Shatterpoint Stats Center. I'm your host Steve, and join me as I look back over the 8 events held across 5 countries with 112 players taking part over the past weekend. So this is our second week of the new meta, so we're looking at these new units coming through from the Balance Pass and also the Morgan and Balin boxes that have dropped. And as part of this as well, we also have 2 GTs to look back over. So this is going to be a great stat center, and I am really excited. So let's have a look at our first event. And we start over at the UK Games Expo 2026, the Friday Thremier event. And so this was part of the GT, but there was a Thremier event on the Friday before the main event. And we can see that we have a couple of 3 and O's. So in first place, coming down to wounds, because the strength of schedule was the same for the top 2, was Tomo, and Tomo was running. On strategic positions, we have Cassian, K2SO, and the Rebel Commandos. Then we've got Leia, Bodhi, Rook, and Baze, and Chirrut. And then Kanan, Ezra, and Chopper. So, in this list here, we can see, obviously, Cassian's had that slight nerf to him. So, K2SO featuring there makes sense as a spy. Leia's got the spy tag, as has Bodhi Rook. Baze and Chirrut are kind of force neutral now, rather than being force positive. So, good to see that they're still featuring in a list here. And then Kanan, Ezra, and Chopper all didn't change in the balance update. And we can see it was a Leia anchor. So Leia the linchpin here, and Cassian Leia with 2 of the wins there. So then in second place we have Sam. And Sam was running Plo Koon with Rex and the 212, then Mace, Barriss and the Arfs, with Kiadi, Nadar Veb and the 501st on strategic positions. So going for a Galactic Republic here, and this is a Mace anchor with Plo and Kiadi being the others that feature with Mace there. Kiadi featuring twice. Then in third place we have Arahane or Ben as known as well, and they were running Kiadi Mundi, Shakti and the Padawan, so the box as is, with Vader Jedi Hunter, Padawan Ahsoka and the Arfs, then Kit Fisto, Sabe and the Wolfpack on strategic positions. And this was a Kiadi anchor, so Kiadi featuring 3 times, Vader played in round 1 and then Kit twice in rounds 2 and 3. So then we move into our 2 and 1s, and in fourth place we have Emma, and Emma was running. If Longshanks is going to behave, there we go. It's Boss, Fixer, and 7 Scorch, with Anakin, Padawan Ahsoka, and the Arfs, with Obi-Wan, Rex, and the Republic Clone Commandos on first contact. And this was an Obi anchor, so Obi Boss dropped in round 1, then Obi Annie in round 2 and round 3. Then in fifth place we have Jay, and Jay was running, looks like Separatists here, which is very exciting. We've got Riff, Nosseri and the Aquadroids, Asajj, Kalani and the Magna Guard, with Dooku, Jango Fett and those recently buffed B1 battle droids on strategic positions. And it was a Riff anchor, with the Asajj Riff being the loss in the middle of a Dooku Riff pairing there. Then in 6th we have Jack, and Jack was also running Boss and Obi. So we've got Boss, Fixer and 7 Scorch with Obi-Wan, Rex and the Clone Commandos, and then Kit Fisto again, Ahsoka and the 212th, and it was shifting priorities as the mission. And this was a Boss anchor this time, so Boss and Kit featuring here. So that's potentially quite a speedy list, even though the Delta box is now slightly slower with Boss's nerf. So quite a speedy list there, with Kit being able to move around the board as well. And then Boss and Obi in the final 2 rounds. Then our next 2 and 1 is Phil, aka Tabletop Impulse. So Phil will be doing a video recapping the events this weekend. And he was running Balin, Shin and the HK droids, with Maul, Shakti and the Padawans, and then the Mandalorian, Luke Skywalker and Han and Chewie in it for the money. So I assume that this is a Balin anchor. It's a strategic positions as well. I'm assuming this is a Balin anchor. Yes, it is. So leaning into the Hunker synergy with the Mando list, and then the Force to tie in with Shin there in the other 2 with the Maul list. Very good. Then in 8th we have Dave, and we see some Empire here, great to see, with Vader Jedi Hunter, Callus and the ISB, then Iden, Gideon Hask and the Elite Squad Troopers, with Via's DTE and the Death Troopers. So seeing a lot of buff units here. It's an Iden anchor, so Iden featuring all 3 matches. Unfortunately, the loss was with Via's, but the Vader-Iden combo working and doing some good there. So very exciting to see. Then our next 2-in-1 is Liam. And Liam was also running Empire with Iden, DTE and the ISF. Then Vader, Emperor's Servant, this time with Bosk and the Death Troopers. Then Moff Gideon, Boba Fett and the Dark Troopers on strategic positions. And this was also an Iden anchor. So Iden providing the anchor for the 2 Empire lists so far, with Moff Gideon getting the wins and unfortunately Vader 2 being the loss there in the middle. And then our final 2-in-1 is Helen Johnson. And Helen was running Vader Jedi Hunter with Padawan Ahsoka and the 501st, Mace Windu with Rex and the Arfs, then Ki-Adi-Mundi, Shakti and the Padawans on strategic positions. And this was a mismatch of things. So we see a Vader and Mace list, then a Vader and Ki-Adi list, and finally a Ki-Adi and Mace list to round out. So playing the strict Thremier, playing all 3 lists there. So Helen doing it on hard mode. But yeah, really great to see a good mix of Galactic Republic there. So that's a really, really positive spin on the first event of the week. The number of units featuring is really, really varied. Good to see some love for the New Balance updated units, things like Kit Fisto coming in there. So nice to see the new box with Balin in there as well. But good to see that actually that Cassian list still able to go 3-0 and Boss also able to put in some good results, because we don't want them to be nerfed so hard that they're unplayable. We just want to see a bit more variety, and that's what we've got here. So yeah, looking really, really good. Big well done to Tomo, Sam and Arahane for your 3-0s, and well done to Tomo for getting the tournament win. Our next event takes us over to Ukraine for the Wargame Arena Shatterpoint Showdown. And here it's a 4-round event and 3 players went 3-1. There were no lists submitted here, but we will read out the primary units. So in first place we have Gulder's Bait, who was running Obi and Hunter, going 3-1, winning on wounds at the end because everyone's strength of schedule was... VPs for the first 2 here, and then third place was decided by VPs. So yeah, so good stuff there. Then in second we have Valen, and Valen was running Annie and Padme with a Lando and Hondo as well. Oh, would have been great to see that list there. That was hopefully in the future we get to see some lists like this. That'd be really fun to see what that build was there. Then in third place, the final 3-1, we have Blood, and they were running Iden with Vader Jedi Hunter, Moff Gideon, and Grand Inquisitor. So again, a really nice eclectic mix, and good to have such a competitive event out in Ukraine. And well done again to Gulder's Bait. Over to France now for Tournoi Shatterpoint de la Casa Jus. And here we have a 3-round event. And in first place, we have Coma Hitilix, who was running, unfortunately, no list here, but we do see Morgan featuring, so maybe that was the whole of the Morgan box there, with Moff Gideon and Iden Versio, so it looks to be another Thremier event, very exciting. Then in second, the first of the 2-1s, we have Ryudan, and they were running Vader Jedi Hunter with Grand Inquisitor and Moff Gideon, so I'd imagine there's quite a few Inquisitors in that list there. And then finally, the final 2-1, Bruno Leloup was running. We have a list here. Let's see. We've got on Never Tell Me the Odds, Anakin, Rex, and the 501st. So straight out the core box there, with Obi-Wan, Cody, and the 212th again as the box, with Mace Windu, Pons, and then the Republic Clone Commando. So nearly the box there as well. So really good to see. And the order of play was, it was a Mace anchor here. Obi getting the wins and the Anakin Mace list with the loss. So yeah, nice little event. Again, great to see some variety. Good to see Empire back up at the top here. That's really refreshing for the meta. And well done to Com for the win. We're back at the UK Games Expo for the Shatterpoint GT here now. Now, this one was a GT that was just 5 rounds, so there was no top cut. However, I will look at the top 8 lists as I do with all the GTs, because that seems fair and balanced. So, if we scroll down here, we can see the only 5 and 1 was Zombie Hedgehog, aka James. I've played James before, really pleased to see. On a personal note, big well done to James for getting the win here, thoroughly deserved, no doubt. So, James going undefeated with 5-0, was running Kanan, Ezra and the Rebel Commandos with Jin, Callus and Zeb. Oh, fantastic to see Zeb on the table with that Jin and Callus build there, love that. And then alongside we have Darth Vader, Emperor's Servant, DTE and the ISB with Moff Gideon, third sister and fifth brother on Never Tell Me the Odds. And let's have a look and see what James was favouring. So it was very much the Moff and Vader list. 4 times that list was run, and it was just in round 2 that James decided to drop the Jin and Kanan list there. So yeah, big well done for getting a 5-0 at the second UK GT of the season. Then in second place we have Arahane, fresh off a podium finish on the Thremia, coming in going 4 and 1. And they were running this time, let's see, we've got Ki-Adi-Mundi, Shakti and the Padawans, Kit Fisto, Sabe and the Wolfpack, Vader Jedi Hunter, Rex and the Arfs, and then Plo Kloon, Ahsoka and the Clone Commandos on strategic positions. And now let's have a look and see. So it was a Ki-Adi anchor throughout the whole day. We see Ki-Adi Plo, Ki-Adi Vader, Ki-Adi Plo, Ki-Adi Vader, and then locking in for Ki-Adi and Kit in the final round. We'll be really interested to hear what Arahane's thinking was behind that, whether it was all the matchups, couldn't drop Kit Fisto until the end. Would have been interesting to see whether Kit could have been played early doors, so you're not locked into the final round, or whether that was okay for them regardless. But yeah, really strong result there, 4 and 1. Then in third, we see Helen coming strong as well here. Fresh off winning the best of the rest at the Sheffield GT already. To hit a third place in the main draw here is fantastic. So we've got Vader Jedi Hunter with Wolf and the 501st, Boss Fixer and 7 Scorch, Mace, Rex and the Arfs, and then Ki-Adi, Shakti and the Padawans. So yeah, really good list there. Helen really enjoying the Boss and Vader Jedi Hunter previously, so let's see whether that continues to be the case. And yes, we can see it is 4 games with Boss and Vader Jedi Hunter. I'm not surprised at all. Great to see that Boss still performing very well. I'm not surprised at all. I think Helen is a fantastic player, so not surprised to see that Boss is coping well with a good player there. And then in round 2, again, it was just dropping that Ki-Adi and Mace list there. So yeah, really great result as well. Another strong 4-1. Then in fourth, we have Jay. Jay, quite local to me, so play a lot of games with Jay. So really pleased to see that they've done so well. Let's see if Longshot behaves. There we go. And we've got Ahsoka, Tano, Jedi No More, Bo-Katan and the Mando Super Commandos, with Armourer Paz Vizsla and the Covert Mandos, with Mother Talzin, Jango Fett and the Night Sisters, with Leia, Lobot and the ISB on Jay's favourite mission, First Contact. So let's have a look at the builds. So it was 3 and 2. It was the Leia Talzin build played 3 times, getting 3 wins, and then the loss comes with one of the other 2, which was the Ahsoka Armourer build there. But no, really great to see Jay doing so well as well. And then our next 4 and 1 is Phil Johnson, so Helen's partner here. Phil will be doing a video, as I mentioned earlier. Really pleased to see Phil hitting the top 8. I know that was one of his goals. He will go into it more in his video, I am sure. So do give that a watch when that one is released. And we see, again, Balin, Shin and HK with Maul, Shakti and the Padawans. Then Mando, IG-88 this time with Lando and R2. And then Cad Bane, Dengar and Han and Chewie. So we've got a Bounty Hunter build, and we've got the Balin Maul build that did so well the other day as well. So we see Mando and Cad dropped in round 1, and then it is Balin and Maul for the rest of it. And I do think that this is a really interesting way to play the Balin box with the Force user tag synergizing so well with Shin. So I'm really interested to hear how Phil got on with that. And then our final 4 and 1 is Dan, First Contact Humpage. Dan again, I played Dan before as well. Really great to see a strong result from him. And Dan was running Morgan, the DTE, and the Dark Troopers, with Mother Talzin, Obi-Wan Kenobi out of hiding, and the Night Sisters, then Asajj, Aurra Sing, and the Magna Guard, with Maul, Savage, and the Bounty Hunter. So loads of units that we wouldn't normally see on the table in the previous meta hitting the table here, and strategic positions was the mission. So Dan was running, is this a Morgan? A Morgan anchor! Oh my goodness me, going 4-1 with a Morgan anchor. We've got Asajj Morgan, Maul Morgan, Mother Talzin for the final 3. So fantastic to see. This is a build, the Mother Talzin and Morgan Elspeth build is one that's been questioned about whether it will work, but Dan has made this work 3 times, beating some really strong players there. So that is wonderful, wonderful stuff to see. Really good. Then rounding out our top 8, in 7th place we have Mike. Really pleased to see Mike getting a top 8 here, with Boss, Fixer, and 7 Scorch, with Hunter, Wrecker and Omega and Echo and Tech, then Obi-Wan Kenobi, Rex and the Clone Commandos, Luminara, Shakti, and the 501st on Sabotage Showdown. And let's have a look. Is this an Obi? It is an Obi anchor list. So Obi Luminara, Obi Boss being a loss here. Interesting. The only time that Mike played Boss there was with the Obi Boss, and that was unfortunately a loss there. Then Obi Hunter, and Obi Hunter again. So really interesting to see that Obi-Wan being the anchor there. You might look at it and think that it was a Boss anchor list, but no, instead Mike has managed to make it work with the Obi list there. Fantastic stuff. And then finally in the top 8 we've got James Green, very strong player here. And James was running Vader Jedi Hunter, Obi-Wan Kenobi out of hiding and the Padawans, then Ki-Adi-Mundi, Ahsoka and the Clone Commandos, with Mace Windu, Rex and the Arfs, and Padme, Sabe and the 212th on Sabotage Showdown. So James ran the Ki-Adi Vader list for the first 3 games, so wanting to get out strong, and then one with the Padme and Mace list before reverting back to the Ki-Adi Vader. So, fantastic results from everyone there, particularly big well done, obviously, to James going 5-0 and taking the win, and all those players going 4-1. Yeah, some great results there. Good to see some of my friends getting strong results here as well. So yeah, everyone should be really, really proud of themselves for that, and what a great showing, what a great mix in the meta, as we were expecting with this new balance update. It's looking really, really good. Moving over to Canada now, for rebellions are built on hope. So if we look here, we've got a 4-round event, and there are only 2 3-1s. And in first place, coming down to strength of schedule, is Cam, and Cam was running a Kit Fisto, Shakti and 501st, with Lando, Bosk and Han and Chewie, Leia charming to the last, Luke and Baze and Chirrut, with Cassian, K2SO and the Rebel Commandos on strategic positions. And it was a Cassian Leia first and last game with a Lando and Kit build. Wow, really fascinating there. So that's the Kit Fisto Shakti in the 501st with Lando, Bosk and Han and Chewie. So I'm guessing that the payday for Bosk and Han and Chewie coming into play on both of those there, and also you've got the additional force from Shakti. So amazing to see such a quirky list doing so well. That is fantastic to see. And then in second place we have Matthew, and Matthew was running Grievous, Kraken and the recently buffed B2s with Luminara, Kalani and the B1s. Brilliant stuff. And then Cassian, K2SO and the Rebel Commandos with Leia, Luke Skywalker and Han and Chewie on shifting priorities. And amazingly, we see the Grievous and Luminara list played 3 times, with Cassian Leia only being played once. So brilliant to see a bit of Separatist love coming through there in the meta. So well done to both of them for the 3-1, and well done Cam for taking home the win. Over to the USA for the GG Temper Shatterpoint Premier Tournament. And this is a 3-round event, and we've only got 1, 3 and 0, and it was Chrono Ranger. Chrono Ranger was running what looks to be quite a heavy Ewok-themed list with Chirpa, Leia, Freedom Fighter, Han Solo, and Logray. Unfortunately, no full list to look at there, but looks very, very heavily Ewok and Rebel centered, which is great to see. Then in second place, we have Blastromech Holden, and they were running Vader Jedi Hunter with Padme, and then a Riff and Mando list. Again, no full list to look at, unfortunately, but good to see some more variety coming through there. Then in third, we have Nick, and Nick was running Via's Snowtrooper Lieutenant and the Death Troopers, with Morgan, Enoch and the Night Troopers, then Ahsoka Tano, Jedi No More, Jedi Master Shakti and the 501st, with Padme, Nadar, Veb and the Padawans. Amazing stuff on strategic positions. Some really, really creative builds coming through here. I'm loving it. And Nick ran the Ahsoka and Padme once before running the Morgan and Via's, picking up the 2 wins there. Brilliant to see Via's and Morgan working so well together. Then in 4th place we have Christopher, and Christopher was running Kit with Riff, and then Grand Inquisitor and Moff Gideon. No full list, unfortunately. And then in 5th place we have Matthew, and Matthew was running Morgan, Death Trooper Escort, and the Dark Trooper. So moving away from the Morgan box, not choosing to not run the rest of the Morgan box there. And then we've got Mother Talzin, Savage, Joe Press, and the Night Sisters. And then Anakin, Rex, and the Arfs with Boss, Fixer, and Seven Scorch on Sabotage Showdown. And it was Annie Boss sandwiching the win there with the Morgan and Mother Talzin. So another person making a Morgan and Mother Talzin build work, which is great to see. So well done, everyone, and particularly well done for Chrono Ranger for getting the 3-0 and the win. We stay in the US for the penultimate event, which is I Seek the Beginning, the May premiere event. And here it's a 3-round event, and we've only got one 3-0, and it's Godliness, aka Duncan, and they were running. I think I can make it, it says in an exclamation mark there. So unfortunately, we don't have a full list, but that's still a good chuckle there. So it's a Lando, Iden, Mando, and Balin list here. So I would imagine that Lando and Iden were pairing up as Empire, with Mando and Balin being another build there. Then in 2nd place, going 2-1, we have Drew Casket, and they were running Freedom Fighter Leia with Logray. So probably an Ewoks or an Oops All Ewoks list there. Great to see. Then in 3rd place, going 2-1, we have Paul, and Paul was running. If Longshanks will behave itself, there it is, with Balin, Shin and the HK droids, Cassian, K2SO and the Rebel Commandos, Leia, Chewie and the Rebel Pathfinders. Ooh, great to see the Rebel Pathfinders hitting the table there. With Mandalorian, Bodhi and Baze and Chirrut on strategic positions. Let's see what the builds were. It was a Balin anchor list with Balin Mando, Balin Cassian and then Balin Leia. Wow, I was not expecting that at all. I was thinking this might be, a Balin Mando list there, and then Cassian Leia. Amazing to see Balin pairing so well with so many different primary units. Really, really fascinating to see. And then, what's going on there? And then in 4th, the 2-1, we have Thrawn, Morgan, Mando, and Balin. Again, no list, unfortunately. And our final 2-1 in 5th place is Applejacks. That was Taco, sorry, in 4th. Then in 5th, we have Applejacks, and Applejacks was running Your Mum. Amazing. Happy days. Very good. Very, very good. We've got Padme, Obi-Wan, Plo Koon, and Kit Fisto. So full Galactic Republic there. So this looks to have been a really fun event. Good laugh there. And well done to Duncan for getting the 3-0 and the tournament win. And then our final event is the other GT that was running. So it's just the Star Wars Shatterpoint Grand Tournament out in the USA in New Jersey. So we will look through the lists as they were ranked in the top 8, going through to the knockout stage, and then in the top cut we'll just read off where the pairings ended. So going 4-0 on the first day was Grand Moff Eric, and Grand Moff Eric was running what looks to be all Empire here, with Thrawn, Boba Fett on contract, ISB agents, Moff Gideon, DTE and Fifth Brother, Morgan, Enoch and the Night Troopers, then Via's Stormtrooper Sergeant and the Death Troopers on Never Tell Me the Odds. And it was Morgan Via's round 1, then Moff and Thrawn in the next couple of rounds there as well, which is brilliant to see. So yeah, we got the win with the recently buffed Via's and Morgan there, and then classic Thrawn and Moff Gideon doing the work in the next few rounds. Then in second, going the first of the 3-1s from day 1 was General Joseph, and they were running Hunter, Wrecker and Omega and the Wolfpack, with Boss Fixer 7 Scorch, Luminara, Kalani and the B1s, and Grievous, Kraken and the B2s on Never Tell Me the Odds. So a bit of Separatist love there as well. And we can see that we have Grievous, Luminara in the first 3 matches, and then it's Boss and Hunter to finish off on day 1. Then in third, we've got Iceman Dean, and they were running, it seems, an Empire and a Galactic Republic kind of combo. So we got Morgan, Enoch and the Night Troopers, Veers, DTE and the Death Troopers, then Jedi Hunter Vader with Obi-Wan Kenobi out of hiding and the Padawans, with Ki-Adi-Mundi, Ahsoka Tano and the Clone Commandos. Interesting, no Shaq T on Sabotage Showdown. And this was a Ki-Adi Vader 3 times, with the loss unfortunately coming in round 2 in a mirror with the Morgan and Veers lists. Then in 4th place we have Mike, and it seems like Mike was running very similar to Dean here. So we've got Veers, DTE and Death Troopers, Morgan, Enoch and Night Troopers, Vader, Padawan Ahsoka and Padawan Learners, and then Ki-Adi-Mundi, Ponds and 7 Scorch. So slightly different build, same primaries, but slightly different build on Never Tell Me the Odds. And here it was 2 and 2 on day 1. So it was Veers and Morgan, followed by Vader and Ki-Adi. Then in 5th we have Rock, and Rock was running a Jedi Hunter Vader with Captain Rex and the Padawan Learners. Then Padme, Ponds and 7 Scorch. We heard a lot about this build online, so not surprising to see it featuring so high up. Then Ki-Adi-Mundi, Barriss and the Wolfpack here. Then Plo Koon, Shaq T and the 501st on Sabotage Showdown. So pairing Plo and Shaq together. And then it's a Ki-Adi played 3 times with Vader once, Plo and then Vader again, and then rounding out with Vader and Padme, which is the loss on day 1. Then in 6th we have Evan, and Evan was running an all-Empire list, it seems, which is Veers, Snowtrooper Lieutenant and the Shore Troopers, Thrawn, Stormtrooper Sergeant and the Stormtroopers, then Morgan, Enoch and the Night Troopers, with Moff Gideon, DTE and the Death Troopers on Never Tell Me the Odds. And it's a Morgan anchor on day 1 with Morgan and Thrawn, then Morgan and Veers winning in the mirror match there, then Morgan and Moff Gideon unfortunately being a loss before Morgan and Veers finish off with a win. Then in 7th we've got Chris, and Chris was running what looks to be Galactic Republic. One would think it's probably a Boss anchor with Boss Fixer 7 Scorch, Hunter, Wrecker and Omega and the Wolfpack, then Obi-Wan, Rex and the 212th with Luminara, Wolf and the Clone Commandos on shifting priorities. And yes, it is a Boss anchor with Boss Hunter being played first, then Boss Obi and Boss Luminara twice. And the final one of the top 8, the only 2 and 2 to squeak through, was Lawlin. And they were running Padme, Ponds and 7 Scorch, we've seen that before, with Anakin, Ahsoka and the Arfs, then Obi-Wan, Rex and the Clone Commandos, and then Hunter, Crosshair and the 212th on First Contact. And it was Padme Annie, Padme Hunter, Padme Annie, and then Padme Obi to finish. So that's how it ended on day 1, but then if we scroll up we can see the final results. And going undefeated all weekend in first place was Grand Moff Eric. So well done to Eric for getting the win. In second, it was Iceman Dean. And then in the kind of third and fourth, we've got Joseph and Rock. And the top 8 was then Trevor, Evan, Lawlin, and what's this? Ryan. We didn't see Ryan's list. Was there possibly a dropout here? Who were we missing? Okay, interesting. So instead, maybe someone had to drop out. So we'll have a quick look at Ryan's list as we've had a dropout. So let's see. So we've got Veers, Snowtrooper Lieutenant and the Death Troopers, with Morgan, Enoch and the Night Troopers, then Moff Gideon, DTE and the Dark Troopers, and Krennic and Vader Fallen Master and Shore Troopers. Brilliant to see there on strategic positions. And it was Veers Krennic, Veers Morgan, and then Veers Moff Gideon. So a Veers anchor list the whole way. You love to see it. So yes, big well done though to Grand Moff Eric for going completely undefeated through the weekend, 7-0. Absolutely brilliant to see. Morgan, Veers, Thrawn, and Moff Gideon. And so that brings us to a positive end for another week of Stats Center. I'm sure you'll agree with me on this, that there is a really good variety of lists coming through. It's great to see Boss and Cassian still featuring. I know there were concerns about how strong they were in the meta, but it's great to see that they haven't been nerfed so hard that some players are still maybe able to make them work. That's really good. However, the variety that we're seeing with various primaries coming through, Morgan, Vias, Balin featuring as well, is really good. There's clearly a lot of interesting builds out there. And the other really fascinating thing is there aren't those kind of cookie cutter builds coming through as well. It's not the, oh yes, well you take this primary with one of these two secondaries and one of these two supporting units. There's some real variety coming through, particularly in the Empire lists and in the Galactic Republic lists as well. And this is super healthy for the game. So I am really excited to see what the next few weeks look like. So, what's coming up on the channel? So, we've obviously got the May Meta Watch coming. I'm hoping to record that either later on today or tomorrow, and so that will be released tomorrow at time of recording here. So, do keep your eyes open for that. I will be looking back over just the data following the balance update, as the previous data, we don't really need to concern ourselves with that anymore. So, slightly smaller look at the data, but there's some really fascinating trends coming through already on that. Then, I'm hoping to get another Jedi Council interview recorded as well, so that'll be really good to get that dropped a little bit later on in the week. Then I am, unfortunately for fans of the channel, I'm going away on holiday for a week, so I will not be. We will miss Stat Center on Monday next week, so there'll be no Stat Center on Monday. But as soon as I'm back from holiday, I will record the previous week's events. So as soon as I'm back, there will be a video dropping. So yeah, so don't panic if you don't see a Stat Center. It's simply because I am away on holiday. So, all that remains for me to say is until the next time, hit the like, the follow, the subscribe, etc., ding the bell, grow the channel, and bye for now.